What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another Wednesday Night War video. It's week 4 of the war and fans are wondering what surprises to expect from AEW and NXT in their battle for ratings victory. Join us now as Wrestlelamia recaps and analyzes both shows, scoring them on wrestling, storylines, announcing, and much more. Currently AEW is winning 3-0, but could that change this week? Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the AEW Dynamite Recap. Dynamite is coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania's Peterson Events Center with Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur calling the action. The show starts off with the semi-finals to the AEW Tag Team Championship tournament between the Lucha Brothers and Private Party. Now, round 2 of the Tag Team title tournament sees the Lucha Brothers endure a barrage of punishment by Private Party's Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn until Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix seize their opportunity, destroying Quinn with a double stomp package piledriver and scoring the win. The Lucha Brothers advance to the finals. They could either face Dark Order or SCU. But before we find out, a hype video airs for Wardlow. AEW's commentary team informs the fans that SCU's Christopher Daniels suffered a pinched nerve last week, but he's up and about and recovering at home. Look for him to return in 6 to 8 weeks. But Frankie Kazarian and Scorpion Sky can do battle in the semi-finals as they face Dark Order. The Dark Order receive a first round bye, but their week off may have hurt them as SCU wins, landing the See You Later on Stu Grayson for the 1-2-3. It'll now be the Lucha Brothers vs SCU in the finals of the tournament. Next up, we get an AEW Dark rematch between Joey Janela and Kenny Omega. Both men fist bump each other in a mutual sign of respect, and then it's game on. But despite a strong showing by Janela, Omega scores the win with a one-winged angel. Tony Schiavone interviews Cody about his AEW World Championship match against Chris Jericho at Full Gear, but Cody is cut off by Sammy Guevara, who has an air horn, then the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho blows an air horn too before mocking Cody. Cody goes after Jericho, who's sitting in a VIP section with the Inner Circle. Cody's joined by Brother Dustin, BFF MJF, and Diamond Dallas Page. Jericho laughs as he and his friends are locked in a VIP room, but Cody smashes through the glass, and it's an all-out melee as the wrestlers battle in the arena's hallways. Eventually, Cody and company are sent away as the Inner Circle have tickets to the event. Next up is tag team action as the Young Bucks take on Best Friends. 2 excellent young teams compete in an action-packed match that sees Orange Cassidy try to help out the Best Friends team of Chuck Taylor and Trent. But it's not enough as Taylor gets hit with more bang for your big and counts the lights. Afterwards, Matt Jackson grabs the microphone and accepts Ortiz and Santana's challenge for Full Gear. A hype video airs for Dr. Britt Baker, the dentist turned wrestler, and unlike Isaac Yankem, she really went to dental school. But the doc has a match against Jamie Hayter, as in the beginning, Hayter seems to shrug off Baker's punishment, but once the dashing dentist applies the lockjaw, it's all over for her. But after that, it's now time for the main event, as we get John Moxley vs Park, and both men engage in a fierce battle. Regrettably, time isn't on their side as the TV time limit elapses and the match ends without a finish. An angry John Moxley hits the paradigm shift on the referee. But that was a quick recap of AEW. What about NXT? NXT is coming from your usual place, the Florida Full Sail University, and tonight's edition is hosted by Nigel McGuinness, Mauro Ranallo, and Beth Phoenix. The show opens up with a one-on-one women's match as Rhea Ripley takes on Bianca Belair. The competition is fierce to get a chance at the NXT Women's Champion, and both Ripley and Belair want to prove they have what it takes. But Io Shirai interferes, kicking Ripley, but it's not enough and Ripley hits the Riptide on Belair for the win after Candice LeRae prevents Shirai from interfering further. We're guaranteed to see a rematch of that later down the line. Kathy Kelly interviews Pete Dunne about Damian Priest, but Dunne's companion Tyler Bate points out that Priest hit him below the belt. Pete tells Kelly he's unconcerned with Priest. A hype video airs for Tommaso Ciampa, and Ciampa says everything was taken from him, but he's learned from his challenges and is ready for what's next. Tyler Bate is then seen in the front row of the audience. Next up is one-on-one action as Matt Riddle takes on Cameron Grimes. Grimes goes for the win with the cave-in, but Riddle counters, powerbombing Grimes on his way to a bro Derek to get the Duke. Riddle goes for a fist bump in the end, but Grimes isn't interested. Riddle fist bumps Tyler Bate, who is then pushed by Grimes. Bate then fires off a punch at Grimes. We then get a video recap of Breezango versus the Forgotten Sons. There's also a promo from Dominik Dijakovic, who reminds everyone he's promised his family he'd become a champion. That promise gets fulfilled tonight. Then we get a 6-man tag as Breezango team with Isaiah Scott versus Wesley Blake, Steve Cutler and Jackson Riker. It's 6-man tag team excitement as Breezango and Swerve Scott get the win over the Forgotten Sons. There's a promo from North American champion Roderick Strong, who says he won't let NXT general manager rob him of his title by putting him into a triple threat match tonight. The new NXT Cruiserweight champion Lio Rush joins the commentary team. And elsewhere, Killian Dane stands in front of a fire and promises revenge on Pete Dunne for Dunne trying to break his fingers last week. After that, another one-on-one match as Jack Gallagher takes on Angel Garza. A missed dropkick by Gallagher is all Garza needs to get the win as he executes a quebrada on Jack to win the bout. Next up is the number 1 contenders match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai take on Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, who's with NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler. But despite Baszler's presence, Nox and Kai get the win as Nox hits her shiniest wizard finisher, ending the match. WWE Women's Tag Team Champions the Kabuki Warriors appear on the not-so-jumbotron, congratulating the winners before promising to beat them next week. That's gonna be one awesome match. Keith Lee cuts a promo saying he'll do his best to become North American Champion tonight. But now it's time for the Triple Threat North American Heavyweight Championship match as champion Roderick Strong takes on Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee. As often happens in triple threat matches, one man gets the win for another, as here Lee lands a super powerbomb on Dominik Dijakovic only for Roderick Strong to pin Lee after hitting the shotgun knee. Roderick Strong retains the North American Championship. The rest of the Undisputed Era joins Strong in the ring to celebrate and beat up Keith Lee for good measure. But then Tommaso Ciampa comes out and is joined by frenemy Johnny Gargano. It looks like DIY are about to reunite, and then they're joined by Finn Balor. However, it's a swerve as Balor attacks Gargano with a Pele kick. Balor leaves as the Undisputed Era destroy Ciampa, and their leader Adam Cole lands the last shot on Ciampa as NXT closes out. But there was a quick recap of both shows. As we mentioned previously, AEW is leading 3-0. First up, let's look at star power. Now, AEW continues to outdo NXT when it comes to building stars and showcasing the top stars they already had. Although Diamond Dallas Page's career has been over for some time, his run in WCW is still remembered, and his presence only added to AEW's lineup. NXT is starting to bring in main roster stars, with next week promising a women's tag team match between the champions the Kabuki Warriors and the team of Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai. However, for the time being, AEW still holds the edge. Next up, wrestling. Tonight's show was a close one, but NXT edged out AEW thanks to a strong triple threat match for the North American Championship and women's matches that showed why NXT's women's division is far superior to AEW. Next up, announcing. Now NXT gets another A for effort, but once again, the dynamic duo of Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone proved to be the better team. And while we're not forgetting Excalibur, he's only a small part of the equation. Ross and Schiavone are more than two fantastic commentators paired up. They work incredibly well together, taking Dynamite's announcing up another notch. So AEW gets the point there. Next up, storytelling. AEW continued the main storyline of Cody challenging Chris Jericho for Le Champion's AEW belt, and the show forwarded the ongoing AEW Tag Team Championship tournament. However, NXT really outdid itself tonight, furthering a number of storylines ranging from the question of where Finn Balor stands in NXT, the potential reunion of DIY, the battle to see who challenges the NXT Women's Champion, the Undisputed Era's dominance in NXT, and a number of other storylines. So NXT really gets the point here. Next up, establishing characters. This one was close, but AEW continues telling easy-to-follow storylines and relatable characters through angles, matches and videos, but NXT is finally putting some effort into establishing its stars and giving the fans a reason to invest their time in them. NXT still has a long way to go, but if you've been watching for only a few weeks, you're starting to get a better idea who everyone is and why they're fighting. So AEW gets the point there. So let's move on to excitement and suspense. NXT won this one hands down, as it stepped up its show, adding suspense with the number 1 contenders match and the triple threat match for the North American title. Finn Balor's shocking attack on Johnny Gargano was a good way to end the show. Now AEW had its moments, but not as many as NXT. And lastly, time management. NXT squeezed in an impressive number of matches, as did AEW, but tonight just seemed like the Yellow Brand finally found a way to incorporate promos, videos and matches into an all-round fulfilling show. NXT needs to be more prudent with its pacing of commercials, but tonight's show was well timed and NXT win the final point. That makes the points 4-3 to NXT, and they finally win a week of the Wednesday Night War. This leads to the week point score of 3-1. As always, wrestling fans were the winners tonight, but NXT finally showed some promise. Although AEW Dynamite is still the better show overall, as NXT succeeded on many fronts, putting on an entertaining show that kept fans wanting to stick around. Whether or not NXT can do this again remains to be seen. However, the WWE deserves credit for slowly bringing in main roster stars, such as Finn Balor and the Kabuki Warriors, without having them steal the spotlight away from NXT's main players. This week, NXT won the battle, but the war remains unfinished. But there you have it guys, your scorecard for week 4 of the Wednesday Night War. Did you watch either or both shows? If so, what did you think of them? Who was the outright winner in your opinion? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.